Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, we always love getting your input for these deep dives, and this one comes straight from you.
That's right. We asked, and you definitely delivered.
You sure did. A ton of you wanted to hear us unpack some of these juicy excerpts you sent our way from the book Setting the Truth Free.
Juicy is right. There is a lot to dig into here.
Oh, absolutely. And as always, our mission here is to really, cut through to the core of these ideas, see what sparks something, what clicks, what maybe even resonates as a huge aha moment for you listening, especially when it comes to your own journey, that journey of, personal growth and self-discovery. It's something we're all on, right?
Absolutely. And in this deep dive specifically, we're really going to be exploring the author's perspective on truth with a capital T.
Capital T, truth, that's right.
And to do that, we'll start with this concept of borrowed truth.
Okay, borrowed truth. I like it already.
Right. From there, we're going to trace the steps toward uncovering and, importantly, liberating your truth.
I'm already feeling liberated.
I know, me too. And a big part of that liberation comes through our experiences, our achievements, all those things that make us who we are.
Okay, so we're going from borrowed truth to your truth, uncovering it through our experiences. And then where do we land?
We're going to wrap up by diving into this really profound concept of the ultimate truth, the truth that lies within each and every one of us.
I am so ready for some major aha moments. How about you out there listening? Just think about it for a second. How many of the beliefs you hold so dear, those ideas you just accept as true, how many of those are actually yours, really yours? Or how many have you just, I don't know, kind of absorbed from the world around you without even realizing it?
Right. Like, is it really your truth, or is it something you've borrowed? And if it is borrowed, well, where did it come from?
And what happens when we start to question those borrowed truths? What happens when we start to own our own internal compass, our own unique potential? That's what we're going to unpack today. So let's dive right in, shall we? And we're going to start, like you said, with this idea of borrowed truth. What is it exactly? Break it down for us.
Okay, so borrowed truth, as the book lays it out, is essentially truth that we take on from other people. It's not something we've necessarily come to on our own.
Mm-hmm.
It's adopted often during those, really impressionable years, those formative years when we're like little sponges soaking everything up.
Oh, I remember those days.
Right. And those truths, they can come from all sorts of places. I mean, think about it. Family, right? Big
Yeah.
one. Our community, the people we grew up around, even society as a whole. And all these sources, they're often well-intentioned. They're trying to teach us, guide us, protect us even.
Absolutely. But here's the thing, and this is where things get really interesting. The book argues that even those well-intentioned truths, even if they come from a good place, they might not really be like completely in sync with our own deepest, most authentic selves. It's not that they're necessarily bad or harmful, but they might not be, I don't know, the right fit for us as individuals.
Exactly. It's like, we're given this map, this set of directions for life, and they might get us close to where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the destination on that map isn't actually where we want to go? What if it's a destination that was chosen for us, not by us?
And that is a really powerful idea because it suggests that all those inherited beliefs, even the ones given with love and care, even those can act as these invisible, I don't know, like ceilings on our potential. Like they're dictating our choices, shaping our lives without us even realizing it's happening on this subconscious level.
Right. We're living out someone else's truth, someone else's expectations, and we might not even be aware of it. It's like we're on autopilot following a pre-programmed route.
In the book, it gives these really relatable examples of borrowed truth. Things I think we can all relate to on some level. Like that classic belief, if I'm good, nothing bad will happen. How many of us were told that growing up?
Oh, I heard that one a lot, for sure.
Great. Or how about this one? Associating thunder with the old devil and his wife fighting. I mean, come on, that's so vivid.
Such a great image. Totally borrowed, but hey, it's memorable.
It is. And then, of course, there's the whole going to church equals getting into heaven thing, or that long list of childhood rules that basically defined what it meant to be a good person. Do this, don't do that, and you'll be okay.
And, the author's really careful to point out that these examples, they're not meant to be like criticisms of anyone's upbringing or beliefs. It's more about recognizing that this youth truth, as they call it, is just a natural outcome of our conditioning. As kids, we're wired to fit in, to adapt, to make sense of the world around us. So we accept the truths that are presented to us, especially from those we trust and love.
Right. It's like as kids, we don't necessarily have the I don't know, the critical thinking skills or the life experience to question these truths, to see if they really resonate with us.
Exactly. And we're not trying to say that all of these borrowed truths are bad. Some of them might be totally fine. Some of them might even serve us well. But the point is to become aware of them, to examine them, and to decide for ourselves if they're really true for us, for who we are now.
And what really struck me was that the author even talks about how their own childhood, it wasn't like it was dysfunctional or traumatic or anything. They had loving parents, a supportive family.
Yeah, I caught that too.
But even in that context, even with those positive influences, they still recognize how certain beliefs, certain ways of seeing the world were passed down to them. They even mention how their mother, she would share her own truth, her own beliefs in this really believable and loving way.
Right. But the point is, it was still her truth, not necessarily the author's.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder, even if these borrowed truths come from a good place, from people who love us and care about us, could they still be limiting us in ways we don't even realize? Like, could they be holding us back from truly being ourselves, from living our most authentic lives?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, the book argues that because these truths weren't born from our own direct experiences, from our own internal exploration and reflection, they can kind of linger in the background,
Hmm.
operating beneath the surface of our awareness. And that can make it really tough to recognize and embrace our own true, authentic selves as we grow and evolve.
That's a really important point because it's not always about these borrowed truths being harmful or negative in some obvious way. It's more about them not being, entirely ours.
Exactly. It's like we're wearing someone else's glasses. The prescription might be close, it might help us see a little better, but it's not perfect for our own unique vision.
Okay, I love that analogy. It's like we're walking around with this set of instructions for life, but they weren't written specifically for us. And the book also talks about how culture plays a huge role in all of this.
Right.
Like how certain truths get passed down through generations, almost like family heirlooms, without anyone really questioning them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, think about some of those common phrases we all hear growing up. Children should be seen and not heard.
Oh, my grandma used to say that all the time,
Right. Or that classic, do as I say, not as I do.
which, let's be honest, is not always the best advice.
Not always, no. But these sayings, they become so ingrained in our families, our communities, that we often accept them as like universal truths. We don't even think to question them.
And the book kind of paints this picture of borrowed truth as having these like really powerful, almost magnetic characteristics. It can be aggressive, insistent, like it demands to be believed. And it can be addictive in the sense that we become reliant on its familiar framework.
Right. It's like this comfort zone we don't want to leave, even if it's not really serving us.
Exactly. And it's undeniably influential. I mean, it shapes how we see the world, how we make decisions, how we relate to others. But ultimately, because it's not truly ours, it can leave us feeling, I don't know, like disconnected, like we're living someone else's life, and potentially stranded when those external truths no longer serve us.
And that's the crux of it. That's why the author is so passionate about this whole idea of setting our own truth free. They want you listening to become aware of any borrowed truths that might be operating in your life. And then they want you to find the courage to liberate your own truth from this stronghold, as they call it. Because if we don't do that, the book suggests, well, there can be some pretty significant consequences.
Like what are we talking about here?
Well, the book proposes that if we never take that step, if we never set your truth free, we might actually miss out on the fullness of our potential.
That's a scary thought.
It is. We might never achieve those dreams that are truly aligned with our soul, with who we really are at our core.
Right.
We might never fully realize all that we're capable of.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling a little lost or unfulfilled. It's about like really missing the mark on our lives.
Yeah. And on a deeper level, the book even suggests that failing to connect with our own truth can prevent us from experiencing a sense of, I don't know, inherent greatness.
Inherent greatness. Okay, tell me more about that.
It's this idea that we all have this innate spark of divinity within us, this potential for something truly extraordinary. But if we're stuck living out borrowed truths, we might never tap into that. We might never discover that incredible power that lies within.
Okay, so we've identified this concept of borrowed truth, right? And we've hinted at the potential consequences of holding on to it. Now, the book makes this pretty bold statement. Your truth will wage war with borrowed truth. Okay, that sounds a little dramatic. What does that mean? Like, what does this internal conflict actually look like in our day-to-day lives?
Yeah. It does sound dramatic, doesn't it? And I think
Yeah.
it really captures the intensity of this process because it's not always easy to confront those deeply ingrained beliefs,
Hmm.
especially the ones that come from, people we love or respect or authorities we've always trusted.
Right. Like questioning those beliefs can feel almost disloyal in a way.
Exactly.
Mm.
But the author argues that this war, this inner conflict, it's actually a necessary part of growth. It's about recognizing the difference between, on the one hand, borrowed truth, which is often focused on external validation.
External validation. So, like how things appear to others, what
Mhm.
people think of us, whether we measure up to certain expectations.
Right. And borrowed truth often places a lot of emphasis on material things,
Sure.
like success is measured by how much money you make or what kind of car you drive or how many followers you have on social media.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see where this war comes in because it sounds like your truth, on the other hand, is a lot more internal.
Exactly. Your truth is about your own unique thoughts, your core beliefs, your authentic feelings, and how you behave towards yourself and others, regardless of what anyone else thinks or expects. It's about being true to yourself, even if it means going against the grain, even if it means challenging those borrowed truths.
So, this war is really about that tension between our inner reality and the external expectations we've absorbed. And the book keeps stressing that your truth, it's not something we have to go out and find. It's already there, right? Inside us, just waiting to be, I don't know, like unearthed, uncovered, set free. It's like
Yeah.
this inherent, authentic part of ourselves that might be getting muffled by all those external voices.
I love that image of it being muffled because that's exactly what it feels like sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like our own true voice is trying to speak, but it's being drowned out by all the noise of the world around us, by all those borrowed truths. And the author even quotes Nietzsche here, which I thought was interesting,
The philosopher.
the one and only. And Nietzsche said something along the lines of, people don't want their illusions destroyed. And I think that's really relevant here because these borrowed truths, they can create this illusion of safety, of comfort. Even if they're not really serving us, they can feel familiar, predictable.
Right. It's like we cling to them because we're afraid of what might happen if we let them go. What if the world falls apart? What if we lose everything we thought we knew?
Exactly. But the book is basically saying, hey, it's time to let go of those illusions. It's time to face the truth, even if it's uncomfortable at first.
Because ultimately, it's in that truth and that authenticity that we find our freedom.
Exactly. And the book argues that this, your truth, this authentic self, it becomes the foundation for developing those really core qualities that make us, well, good humans.
Mm.
Things like integrity, genuine charity, real humility, a strong personal faith, and a clear sense of purpose. It's like when we're aligned with our deepest truth, those virtues just flow naturally.
Okay, I love that. So it's not just about feeling better about ourselves or being more successful, it's about becoming better people, more whole, more in tune with our values.
Right. And the author even brings up this biblical passage, 1 Corinthians 13:11,
Yeah.
the one about putting away childish things when we become adults. And they interpret that as a call to examine those borrowed truths we picked up in our youth, to ask ourselves, are these still serving me? Do they still resonate with who I am now?
Because let's face it, what worked for us as kids, those beliefs that maybe protected us or helped us navigate the world when we were younger, they might not be what we need as adults.
Right. Like we're constantly growing, evolving, changing. So it makes sense that our truths would evolve too.
And apparently, holding on to borrowed truth, well, it can really hold us back. The book says it can prevent us from fully recognizing and embracing our own unique gifts and talents.
I mean, think about that for a minute. How many times have you doubted yourself? How many times have you told yourself you're not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough?
Oh, all the time.
Right. And what if those are just borrowed truths whispering in your ear? What if those are just limiting beliefs that you've picked up along the way and never questioned?
That's mind blowing because it suggests that maybe, just maybe, we're actually way more capable than we think we are, but we're holding ourselves back because we're listening to the wrong voices.
Exactly. And the book also points out that holding on to borrowed truth, it robs us of time and energy that we could be spending nurturing our own truth, our own authentic selves.
So it's not just about what we're missing out on, it's about what we're actively losing.
Yeah. And often these borrowed truths, they make these really demanding claims on our attention. They keep us focused on the wrong things, chasing the wrong goals.
So, like, we're constantly distracted, constantly trying to live up to these external standards that might not even align with what truly matters to us. We're exhausted, but we don't even know why.
Right. And, the book gets really real about why people might unconsciously buy into this borrowed truth syndrome. And some of the reasons are well, they're a little uncomfortable.
Oh, lay it on me. I can handle it.
Okay, so brace yourself. The book suggests that sometimes it's about selfishness.
Selfishness. Okay, how so?
Well, it's easier,
Yeah.
right? It's easier to just accept what we've been told than to actually do the hard work of self reflection. It's easier to just go along with the crowd than to figure out what we really believe, what really matters to us.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. It takes courage to question those deeply held beliefs.
It does. And then the book also talks about laziness.
Laziness. Ouch, that one hits close to home.
Right. But it's true. Sometimes we just don't want to put in the effort. It's easier to just stick with the status quo, to not rock the boat, than to challenge those established norms, even if we suspect they might not be true for us.
I'm definitely guilty of that sometimes.
Me too.
Mm.
And then the last reason the book gives is this tendency to, just readily accept the authority of the source of that truth.
So, like, if it comes from our parents or our teachers or some expert, we just automatically assume it must be true.
Right. We don't question it. We don't think critical about it. We just take it in and accept it as truth.
Yeah.
But the author is urging us to do the opposite. They're basically saying, hey, demand a recall on those beliefs.
Demand a recall. I love it.
Right. Don't just blindly accept what you've been told. Take those beliefs out for a test drive. See how they feel. See if they actually align with who you are, with your own experiences and values.
And that's where this whole war between your truth and borrowed truth really starts to play out.
Exactly. Because as you start to live more authentically, as you start to align your actions with your own truth, you're going to encounter resistance. And that resistance can come from both inside and outside of you.
Okay, so talk to me about that. What does that resistance actually look like?
Well, internally, you might feel this, I don't know, this unease as you start to challenge those long held beliefs. It can be scary to let go of what's familiar, even if it's not serving you. And externally, you might get pushback from other people, especially from people who benefit from you sticking to those borrowed truths.
Oh, that's interesting. So, like, if we start questioning those borrowed truths, other people might feel threatened, like their own truth is being challenged.
Exactly. Think about those classic phrases that are often used to shut down questioning and critical thinking. Things like, because I said so, or I'm your mother, I know best, or that's the way we've always done it.
Oh, I hate those phrases. They just shut down the conversation.
I know. But there are classic examples of how borrowed truth tries to maintain its power. It doesn't want to be questioned. It doesn't want to be challenged.
And the book actually points back to childhood for this one. They say that even as kids, we have these moments where our own inner voice, our own inherent truth, starts to push back against those borrowed truths.
Right. Like even when we're little, there's this part of us that knows when something isn't quite right.
Even if we don't have the words to explain it, even if we don't fully understand it, there's this feeling, this instinct that tells us something's off.
Exactly. And the book suggests that those moments, those are the first little battles in this ongoing war between your truth and borrowed truth.
So even as kids, we're already fighting for our own authenticity, even if we don't realize it.
Right. And that fight, it continues throughout our lives. And the author, they have this beautiful way of putting it. They say, your truth has been waiting to exhale. It's been there all along, maybe suppressed, maybe ignored, but just waiting for us to acknowledge it, to give it space to breathe.
Okay, that image just gave me chills.
Yeah.
Because it's so true, right? It's like this part of us is longing to be free, to be expressed, to be fully realized.
And the book really emphasizes how much we need our truth to be set free. Like, it's not just about this abstract concept of truth, it's about our own well being, our own happiness, our own fulfillment.
So it's like this symbiotic relationship. Our truth needs us to set it free, and we need it to be free in order to live our best lives.
Exactly. And then the book poses this really powerful question, which I think is worth sitting with for a moment. What would your life look like if you were to truly win this war against borrowed truth?
Ooh, that's a good one. What if we could silence those external voices, those limiting beliefs, and just fully embrace our own truth? What would be possible then?
Right. What doors would open? What dreams would we dare to pursue? What kind of impact could we have on the world?
Okay, I'm ready to win this war. Sign me up.
Me too. And to help us win, the book gives us this incredible description of your truth. It says that your truth is relentless in its pursuit of authenticity. It's powerful, transformative, truly amazing in its potential.
Okay, I'm starting to feel that inherent greatness you were talking about.
Right. And your truth is something that brings a deep sense of remembrance. It's like when we connect with our truth, we remember who we really are. It guides us, leads us to new discoveries about ourselves and the world. And it's totally unique to each of us. No two truths are exactly alike.
That's beautiful. So it's not about conforming to some external standard. It's about embracing our own individuality, our own unique perspective.
Exactly. And the book contrasts this with the potential for unhappiness, uncertainty, that sense of living a life that's just, I don't know, off key when we're stuck in borrowed truth.
Okay, so we're starting to really understand the importance of not only identifying those borrowed truths, but also of actively challenging them, dismantling them, and creating space for our own truth to emerge.
Right. And that brings us to the next section of the book, which is all about transformational conditioning.
Transformational conditioning. Okay, I'm intrigued. What is that all about?
Well, it's essentially about consciously cultivating certain qualities within ourselves, qualities that allow our truth to flourish. Things like deep honesty, real courage to be authentic, genuine openness to new perspectives, the strength to be vulnerable, and a radical acceptance of our own imperfections.
Wow, that's a tall order, but it sounds incredibly liberating.
It is. It's about creating an internal environment where our true selves can not only survive, but thrive. And it's a huge shift away from trying to uphold this flawless facade that we often feel pressured to present to the world.
Right, like that whole fake it till you make it
Ugh.
mentality.
Exactly. But transformational conditioning is about embracing the messy, beautiful reality of who we actually are. Imperfections and all, it's about ditching those borrowed truths about how we should be perceived and instead celebrating our authentic selves.
Okay, I am so here for that. Because honestly, who has the energy to maintain a perfect facade all the time? It's exhausting.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's not even real. I mean, the book actually calls out this whole trend of people portraying these perfect lives on social media and elsewhere.
Oh, don't even get me started on social media. It's like everyone's living their best life, except for me, of course. But deep down, we all know it's not real. It's just a curated highlight reel.
Exactly. And your truth, it allows us to acknowledge the brokenness, the imperfections, the struggles that we all experience, the things that we've often been taught to hide away in shame. But the book argues that it's in those imperfections, in those vulnerabilities, that we find our true strength.
Okay, that's a powerful reframe. So it's not about pretending we have it all together. It's about being real, being honest, being open about our humanness.
Right. And the author is careful to point out that conditioning itself isn't inherently bad. I mean, we all need some degree of conditioning to function in society.
Right, like learning to share, not interrupt, say please and thank you, basic stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it becomes problematic when our conditioning takes control, when it starts dictating our core beliefs and thoughts, especially when those beliefs and thoughts go against our own inner truth. That's when we end up in this state of like unaware conformity. We're just going along with the crowd without even thinking about it.
So awareness is key here. Being consciously aware of the environment we're in, the people we surround ourselves with, the messages we're constantly bombarded with.
Absolutely. Because we're constantly absorbing things from our surroundings. Whether we realize it or not, we're being influenced by the people we spend time with, the media we consume, the culture we live in.
And the book reminds us of that powerful idea from Romans 12.2 about being transformed by the renewing of our minds.
Right. And that's a continuous process. It's about actively choosing to question our beliefs, to challenge our assumptions, to be open to new perspectives. It's about recognizing that we have the right to think for ourselves, to form our own opinions, to interpret our experiences through our own unique lens.
So it's not about rejecting everything we've been taught. It's about being more discerning, more intentional, more conscious about what we choose to believe and why.
Exactly. And one of the most liberating things about this transformational conditioning, it's that it shatters the myth of having to have it all together. Like we don't need to be perfect to be worthy, to be loved, to be successful.
Thank goodness for that, because I
Right.
don't know anyone who actually has it all together.
Me neither. And the book encourages us to question those unrealistic goals that we often set for ourselves. Those goals that are often based on, external standards and expectations. And instead, it invites us to embrace a new sense of boldness, a willingness to be ourselves, even if it means making mistakes, even if it means not having all the answers.
Okay, I'm feeling that boldness already. Bring it on.
Right. And, the book uses this really interesting analogy to describe this state of being. They talk about Adam and Eve being naked but not ashamed.
Naked but not ashamed. Okay, that's a powerful image.
It is. And I think it really captures the essence of what transformational conditioning is all about. It's about being completely open, vulnerable, authentic, without feeling the need to hide or pretend or apologize for who we are.
So it's about accepting ourselves fully, flaws and all, And the book suggests that when we do that, when we reach that level of self acceptance, our need for external validation, that constant craving for approval and acceptance from others, it starts to diminish.
Exactly. We become less dependent on what other people think and more grounded in our own sense of worth,
Mhm.
which is, incredibly freeing.
But the book is honest about the fact that this is unfamiliar territory for a lot of us. We've been conditioned to seek approval, to fit in, to not rock the boat. So embracing our own truth, it can feel scary, like we're stepping out into the unknown.
It can, and the book acknowledges that. But it also reminds us that this truth, this authentic self, it's not something foreign or alien to us. It's actually our most natural state. It's who we were always meant to be.
So it's like we're coming home to ourselves.
Exactly. And the book links that lack of courage, that feeling of intimidation, back to the battle we were talking about earlier, that ongoing struggle between your truth and borrowed truth. It's like those external voices, those limiting beliefs, they're constantly trying to hold us back, to keep us small, to prevent us from fully stepping into our power.
And the author even brings in another biblical reference here. This time it's Matthew 7:13, which talks about the broad and the narrow way.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And they suggest that choosing to conform to those borrowed truths, it's like choosing the broad, well worn path. It's comfortable, it's familiar, but it might not actually lead us where we want to go. Whereas choosing the path of authenticity, of your truth, that's more like the narrow way. It's less traveled, it's more challenging, but it ultimately leads to greater fulfillment and true freedom.
Exactly. And, the author has this way of like directly speaking to the reader, which I find really
Oh,
engaging.
yeah, I love that. It feels very personal, like they're right there with us, guiding us along.
Totally. And at this point in the book, they say something like, if you've read this far, it means you're already reflecting on this process of transformation. Like you're already on the path, even if you're just starting to explore these ideas.
And that's encouraging, right? Because I mean, we're not alone in this. There are other people out there who are also questioning, exploring, seeking their own truth.
Absolutely. And ultimately, this transformational conditioning, it's about allowing our inner light to shine. It's about having the courage to acknowledge our flaws and struggles, not as something to be ashamed of, but as part of what makes us unique, what makes us human. And that act of self acceptance, it's a huge step in setting our truth free.
Okay, so we've journeyed through borrowed truth. We've talked about the internal war we might face. We've explored the power of transformational conditioning. And now the book takes us into this fascinating realm of your experience truth. And this is something I think a lot of us overlook, right?
Absolutely. We tend to focus so much on like the big events, the milestones, the successes and failures. But our day to day experiences, the seemingly small moments, they shape us just as much, if not more.
And the book really emphasizes how those experiences, both the good and the bad, they're not just random events. They're actually incredibly valuable. They're assets, gifts that help us grow and learn and become who we're meant to be.
I love that reframe because so often we resist our experiences, especially the painful.
Hey, you. Thanks for tuning in. We've got something really interesting lined up for you today.
We do indeed.
It's a deep dive into the book, Setting the Truth Free Experience, Achievement, and Ultimate Truth.
Right.
Think of this as your shortcut, maybe,
Yeah.
to understanding the core ideas, the stuff that can actually make a difference in how you see things.
Exactly. And this book, it's dedicated by the author to his family and, well, fellow seekers. It's really all about understanding and unlocking your own personal truth.
Yeah.
So, our goal here in this deep dive is to pull out the most valuable insights, show you how you might, set it free in your own life without getting bogged down in just theory.
What really grabbed me right from the start was the author's strong belief in the individual.
Mhm.
He's convinced that your truth isn't like out there somewhere waiting to be found,
No.
but that it already lives within you. He even frames it as this powerful gift, something maybe a higher power has entrusted to each of us.
And that really sets the stage for his initial concept of youth truth, which is a powerful idea, I think.
It really is.
Think about it. When we're young, we're like sponges, aren't we? Just absorbing beliefs, values from family, community, society.
Oh, total.
It's conditioning, pure and simple. And it shapes our early understanding of what's true, often without us even realizing it.
Right. And he gives some really vivid examples too. Like, remember being told that if you were just good, bad things wouldn't happen.
Oh, yeah. I remember variations of that.
For, the idea that thunder was like the devil fighting or something bizarre.
Ah, yeah. Those childhood myths.
And the classic one, Going to church every single week guarantees you a spot in heaven, but only if you do these specific actions.
Exactly. Those kinds of truths we often just inherit, you know, without question, usually in our youth.
So the key takeaway there, I guess, is that many of your deeply held beliefs might not actually be yours.
Good point. They're inherited, borrowed, maybe.
Borrowed, yeah. That's a good word for it.
And he shares that really touching story about his mother, Olame,
Oh, that was lovely.
and how her unwavering, loving way of sharing her truths deeply influenced him, even when maybe his own inner sense of things was a bit different.
Right.
Her conviction was just so strong, it sort of shapes his understanding anyway.
Yeah.
It's a perfect illustration of this borrowed truth.
It is how the beliefs of people we trust and love just become our own, sometimes without us even noticing.
It really hits home, doesn't it? This idea that our foundational understanding can be so heavily influenced by others.
Definitely. But then the author pivots to something really exciting, personal evolution.
Ah, yes.
He talks about that moment, when he realized his own truth was something different, something liberating, he says. Challenging, but uniquely his.
Yeah, the start of self-discovery.
Exactly. And that's really the challenge he lays down for the listener, for you, becoming truly yourself by setting your truth free.
So let's dig into this borrowed truth a bit more. The author defines it pretty clearly. It's that truth given to us, especially when we're young.
Right. Given, not discovered.
Precisely. And what's crucial to grasp is its staying power. It can stick with us almost unconsciously, keeping us kind of locked in those old patterns, conforming, maybe even making us believe we can't actually have our own authentic understanding.
It's like wearing someone else's glasses, you said. I like that analogy.
Yeah, you see the world, but it's not quite your view, is it? Not your prescription.
And it's fascinating how forceful he says it can be. He uses words like aggressive and influential.
He does. It's not just passive. It's not just beliefs we pick up. It actively works sometimes to keep its grip.
That really resonates. I think anyone who's felt sort of hemmed in by expectations or old beliefs they've carried for years, they'll get that.
Absolutely. Which leads us right to the essential contrast. Your truth versus borrowed truth.
Okay.
The author explains that borrowed truth is very outward focused. Appearances, what others believe is right, external markers of success or acceptance.
All about getting that validation from outside, seeking approval.
Exactly. It's all external.
Precisely. Now, your truth, as he presents it, well, that's something entirely different, isn't it?
Completely different.
He frames it as like a divinely given compass inside us, meant to guide our own interpretations, empower us to live connected to something bigger.
That inner knowing, that quiet voice of authenticity.
Yeah, that's it. And here's a powerful point he makes. When you set your truth free, it doesn't just feel good. It can actually bring hidden pains, unresolved stuff to the surface.
Right, which sounds maybe scary, but
in doing so, it also unlocks wisdom, guidance, a deeper sense of appreciation, love, and real personal power.
He even uses this interesting idea that outward experiences need to be, quote, fed to our inner truth.
Fed? How do you mean?
Well, it suggests this ongoing internal dialogue, right? A constant process, taking in information, experiences, and then filtering them through our own inner sense of what rings true for us.
Okay, I get it. Like processing life through your own authentic lens.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How consciously are we actually doing that filtering? Or are we just letting it all in unfiltered?
That's a great question. And it connects really beautifully to his next concept, transformational conditioning.
Right. This isn't the external pressure of borrowed truth anymore.
No. This is about intentionally cultivating positive qualities within ourselves. He highlights things like honesty, courage, even vulnerability.
It's like intentionally planting positive seeds, maybe.
Yeah.
Honesty, courage in your own inner garden.
I like that. And over time, they blossom and change how you see yourself in the world.
Exactly. And the idea is when you align with your truth, you naturally start to value and embrace these, illuminating qualities in yourself, even your flaws.
Right. Recognizing your own inherent worth and how that inner light then sort of radiates outward, influences how others see you.
Letting your authentic self shine, basically.
What's really interesting, I thought, is how he reframes vulnerability.
Yeah. Not as weakness.
Not at all. He suggests that admitting our flaws, our struggles, it becomes a positive act, a way to, quote, rejoice in setting our truth free.
That's a powerful shift in perspective, isn't it? Owning our imperfections is actually a step towards greater authenticity, towards liberation.
It really is.
Now, let's talk about your experienced truth. This is something I think, well, a lot of people maybe overlook its value.
I agree. We tend to discount our own lived experiences
We
sometimes.
do. But the author emphasizes the immense value of our personal journeys, the sum total of everything we've been through. He argues our experiences are actually one of the most profound gifts we get.
It's so true, isn't it? We often look outside ourselves for answers, for wisdom,
Yeah.
but our own lives are just packed with invaluable lessons. He points out how experiences serve as guides, reminders of past lessons, and maybe most importantly,
Teaching us not to repeat mistakes.
exactly, it's like having your own personal history book, constantly offering insights if you're willing to read it.
And he stresses that this experienced truth is deeply personal, unique to each of us. Ultimately, we're the ones responsible for figuring out the meaning, the significance of our own experiences.
Which can be hard work sometimes.
Oh, definitely. And he even touches on the idea that some of these truths are so personal, so deep, they can't even be fully shared with others.
That really validates the richness of our inner lives, doesn't it? Even the parts nobody else sees.
It does. It holds immense value. He encourages us to shift our perspective on these experiences too.
How so?
Instead of seeing them just as random things that happen, or maybe even negative attacks, view them as potential blessings, as preparation for what's ahead.
Finding the hidden lessons, the strength gained even in tough times.
Precisely. And he draws a fascinating parallel here to Scripture, referencing John 16 about the Spirit of truth guiding us.
Ah, interesting connection.
He suggests our experiences serve a similar purpose, helping us find our true selves, our passions, our capacity for forgiveness, love.
And helping us shed that old youth truth conditioning.
Exactly. And even shaping us into more insightful leaders, perhaps. He calls our experiences a barometer of personal growth.
A barometer. I like that. A way to measure how far we've come.
But he also gives a good reminder, don't take them lightly, don't take them for granted.
Yeah.
While some parts might stay private, he emphasizes they should have the freedom to speak volumes within us, allowing our own interpretation.
And it's powerful when he says that setting your experience truth free might even attract envy or ridicule from others.
Yeah, and not seeing that as a negative.
But as a sign that you're actually making progress, stepping into your own authentic understanding.
It's a bold stance. Okay, let's move on to achievement truths.
Achievement truth. Okay.
Here, the author shifts focus to taking ownership of our successes. He says success, however you define it, is fundamentally something earned through responsibility, effort.
Right. So our achievement truth is about actively taking control, overcoming challenges by aligning our actions with our inner truth, our true self.
That's the idea. And he includes that powerful quote from Napoleon Hill.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Great achievement is usually born of great sacrifice and is never the result of selfishness.
That really underscores it, doesn't it? Pursuing goals, living your truth. It often requires dedication, perseverance.
It does. And he directly contrasts this with giving in to fear and laziness. He sees those as obstacles created by avoiding responsibility.
It links back to taking ownership.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he connects this strongly to the power of belief, referencing Scripture again, encouraging us to be strong, courageous on our path.
Cultivating that internal conviction, believing you have what it takes.
Yeah. And he makes a really critical point about the power we each hold in our own minds. This is huge.
Go on.
He states that ultimately only we can change our own thinking patterns. External influences matter, sure, but real transformation, that comes from within.
So what we consistently think holds more sway than what we just hear or see.
Far more, according to him. He quotes Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Our daily choices, our actions, they're a direct reflection of our internal truth.
Yeah.
And freeing our minds from those limiting, controlling influences, that's essential for progress.
He have that great line too. It's not what you are that holds you back.
It's what you think you are not.
Yeah.
Yeah. That really nails the power of our own limiting beliefs, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And he encourages us to do some honest self-reflection too.
Mm-hmm.
Look back at past progress, even small steps, and just acknowledge the journey. Build confidence by seeing our own resilience.
Yeah. Appreciate how far you've come. He introduces this really insightful concept too, an achievement truth space.
Achievement truth space, like mentally.
Exactly. Imagine your mind as a room. That's your achievement truth space. You decide what comes in.
Okay.
Are you letting negativity, self-doubt just clutter it all up? Or are you consciously choosing empowering, focused thoughts to occupy that space?
So managing your mental real estate.
Pretty much. He
Yeah.
emphasizes we are the authors of our own achievements, and that requires actively managing this space.
Yeah. And this authorship, he says, demands a whole set of qualities, right?
It does. Responsibility, accountability, self confidence, consistency, determination, discipline.
Plus the practical stuff, prioritizing, organizing.
It's a comprehensive approach, taking charge of your goals. He describes the necessary mindset as, well, relentless,
Relentless.
tested by life, tired of the status quo, no longer willing to be held back by old conditioning or external limits. It paints a picture of real commitment.
Fierce commitment, breaking free.
Yes. He underscores that embracing our achievement truth signifies genuine forward movement, dismantling borrowed truths, oppressive patterns, leading to independence, transformation.
And he offers encouragement, too, doesn't he? That this is within reach for all of us.
Absolutely. Using the resources we already possess, he wisely cautions against letting the past define the future.
Right. Achievers focus on shaping the future by setting their truth free now.
Exactly. Dwelling on what can't be changed is futile. And he wraps up this section with an empowering thought. Take responsibility for your success, regardless of age, background.
And remember that your achievements can ripple outwards, positively affecting others who need you.
That's a great point, too. It's not just selfish ambition.
Okay, so finally we get to the ultimate truth.
Yes. This feels like the heart of it all, doesn't it?
It really does. True liberation starts with self-discovery and recognizing the incredible power of self-belief. That phrase, greater is he that is in you.
Mm-hmm. He emphasizes that our own belief about ourselves is the ultimate authority, way more important than others' opinions or judgment.
This is where all the threads really come together, the core idea. We are the ultimate arbiters of our own truth.
Yeah. Our whole life experience is shaped fundamentally by what we believe about ourselves, what others think. Secondary, it's about that unwavering belief we hold.
He then poses a really important challenge, I think. We need to actively strive to be the kind of person we can genuinely believe in ourselves.
Right. Embodying qualities like honesty, self-worth, respectability, decency.
Those are the cornerstones, the foundation for setting our truth free.
And he tackles the often complex topic of faith head on,
How so?
suggesting that belief in a higher power is actually strengthened, deepened by the belief we have in ourselves.
Interesting. So self-belief supports faith.
That's his angle.
Yeah.
He asks a pretty provocative question. How can we truly believe in a distant external God if we don't first acknowledge and believe in the divine spark or potential within ourselves?
Wow. Okay.
He encourages us to actively affirm that presence, that power within our own being.
And he suggests the divine, however you frame it, often works through our own minds.
Yes. And by taking conscious control of our thoughts, we open ourselves to greater guidance. He offers a gentle critique, too,
Of what?
of those who might, try to dictate terms to the divine while being unwilling to address their own negative, limiting thought patterns.
Asking for help, but not doing the inner work.
Kinda, yeah. He offers a fresh perspective on the word believe in Scripture, too, suggesting it often carries this deeper meaning. Believing in ourselves and the inherent divine potential within us. Even believe in the Son of God, he suggests, can mean believing in our own potential, using our minds to manifest desires, reach our highest aspirations.
That's a pretty bold interpretation.
It is. And he directly addresses those feelings of unworthiness that can sometimes get tangled up with religious beliefs.
Encouraging us to believe we deserve goodness, positive outcomes.
Exactly. Making the fundamental point. You can't really expect others to believe in you if you haven't first cultivated that belief within yourself.
Makes sense. You have to buy into yourself first.
Right. And he concludes by saying that ultimately, setting our truth free is the act of expressing that divinely granted liberty to become who we choose to be.
Empowering us with confidence, inner strength to overcome negative conditioning.
And step into a newness of life, both in achievements and spiritual growth. It's essential, he argues.
Wow. Okay. So pulling it all together, the journey the author lays out in this book, it's really a progression, isn't it?
Definitely a progression. Starts with recognizing those borrowed truths, the stuff we absorbed, maybe unconsciously,
Right.
and guides us towards a deeper personal understanding of ourselves and the world. An understanding built on, well, the wisdom from our own experiences.
The empowerment from taking responsibility for achievements.
And ultimately recognizing that ultimate truth, that inner knowing, that self-belief that's right there inside each of us.
Exactly. And for you, our listener, the key takeaways seem to be these. First, maybe take some time to really question those inherited beliefs. Could they be holding you back?
Good first step.
Second, recognize your own experiences are incredibly valuable, a source of truth, learning, lessons unique to you.
Don't discount them.
Third, embrace the power of taking ownership, your actions, your goals. Striving towards them is profound personal growth.
Taking responsibility.
And maybe most importantly, nurture that foundational power of your own self belief. That seems to be the essential first step in truly setting your truth free.
Couldn't agree more. And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
Considering the author's powerful emphasis on that divine presence within each of us, how might actively cultivating a deeper, more unwavering sense of self belief, how might that fundamentally shift the way you interpret your past experiences?
Ah,
And how might it change the way you approach the possibilities that lie ahead for you?
that's a deep one. How self belief reframes both past and future.
Exactly. It's a profound question, I think, worth exploring in your own life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today.
Our pleasure.
We sincerely hope these insights from the source material have given you some valuable food for thought on your own journey of understanding and setting your truth free.